Up next is Nancy Finley, National Park Service Office locally here. Hi Nancy, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to chat with you a little bit. Brandon did an excellent job of sort of conveying the CESU philosophy and program within the Midwest region, so I won't go over those materials again. I did want to share that we are in the process of rolling out our a 5-year strategic plan for the Midwest region of the National Park Service that will try to guide a lot of the science and interests that we want to have coming out of the region. We've broken that out based on the CESU paradigm. Basically, we have some general categories, but then we have a section entirely dedicated to evaluating the specific needs of the Great Plains, the Great Rivers, and the Great Lakes. So those are very much natural resource oriented for the most part, although they have some cultural resource overlays there. But looking forward to sharing that with everyone. Anticipated rollout date is in February. I think just playing off of what Tom just said, we also were the recipient of some funds to support a scientist in parks postdoc. And Brandon is actually sort of the lead on recruiting for that for us. But we will house one somewhere in our Midwest region. The position is geared toward climate change and looking at largely riparian systems for the most part, but has some flex to sort of evaluate how some of these changes are affecting our ability to do, say, mussel restoration, et cetera. And also just to do work in our parks and the adjacent areas. So if you go to that SIP page that Tom posted, you'll probably find ours described there. But again, January 28th deadline. We'd very much like to have a nice, robust applicant pool. And it's a really great opportunity to work with the National Park Service and sort of understand what our interests are, but also help us take our science a little bit to the next step. And I guess one of the last things I wanted to sort of touch on today is many of the government employees in the room probably already will groan in agony about hearing Infrastructure Reduction Act and bipartisan infrastructure law, so Bill and IRA fund sources. These have been a rapid fire series of requests for proposals, and we have been very successful in the Midwest region, and we've been very successful specifically in the Great Plains. And so in terms of, they have something called the Keystone Initiatives. They've broken the country out into various Keystone Initiatives. There is a Grasslands Keystone Initiative. That is where we have succeeded. And that has to do with grassland restoration and seed strategy, implementing seed strategy. So in the first round of Bill, I believe we were very successful and received $900,000 to implement a seed strategy and work directly with SDSU. And this is Laura Perkins. And that work is to build upon some work that was already done with USDA, NRCS, and BLM on the Native Plant Initiative. And what the intent is to look at seed handling and storage protocols, or develop them for about 60 species that can be used for restoration. So it's really strange to talk about, but we don't have a great deal of knowledge about how to be successful in restoring plants in the Northern Great Plains, or in the Great Plains in general. We do a little bit better in the southern range of our region, but not so much in the northern. So this is really tailor-made to try to have us be successful. This, coupled with the fact that the fire program for the National Park Service, as well as other agencies, has been very good at, and also drawn Bill and IRA funds to support fire and more fire on the ground to support restoration. And then the last piece is we've gotten actual money to do exotic plant removal, woody encroachment reduction, and restoration. So if we get all these things together, I think we have well over, at least from my group, we have well over $4 million worth of funding coming out. And we're right at the infancy of trying to figure out how to spend that effectively. So also would very much like to work with our partners at the university and the federal government to try to orchestrate something in concert. So I know, for example, we've had some conversations with Duroc Twidwell at University of Nebraska, Lincoln, about the Woody encroachment piece and his work there. And that might, coalesce us around a single cause where, for example, his work is looking at doing mapping of where the best strategies are for reducing woody encroachment, that we get the most bang for our buck in implementing restoration. So encompassed within that is the Grassland KI Keystone Initiative under DOI. That's informing a path forward for us to integrate grassland restoration and grassland health across the agencies. Thinking about using sort of a sagebrush model to try to get that coordination. But I guess I ask him, if anyone has interest in collaborating with us on the activities we've already got going and or some interest in moving forward with grassland restoration, we would love to hear from you. And also hear what you're doing, that maybe we could jump on the bandwagon and get things organized. So really important stuff, really unique opportunity to infuse a lot of money into the Great Plains, and I'm happy to be a recipient of the monies that can make this happen. So with that said, I think this is a great forum to have that conversation. You guys are instrumental in making some of these changes, and the CESU, I hope and look forward to, might be a key part into moving these things forward. And I'm always appreciative of what the researchers and students have done thus far with us and continue to do every day in supporting the National Park Service. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Nancy. Any questions? I'm always surprised at how many opportunities there are every time we talk. There's a lot of great opportunities out there, and that's great to see.
I should add, by the way, I'm sorry that we've mentioned that Brandon is sort of sitting in the seat until we get the position filled. We have had some challenges in our human resources side of the house, in a couple different things happened during the potential reauthorization of a hiring authority and things like that made it so we've lost traction in filling that position as fast as we had hoped. But my hope is that we will overcome this shortly. So in the meantime, Brandon's doing a great job, and we're trying not to overload him with two, but he's fully capable. So appreciate that too, Brandon. And Paul, for your patience.
No worries. We're all on this together. So
yep.
Yeah, and Brandon has done a stellar job. He's been a great addition to our group. So
yep.
Okay, thank you very much, Nancy.